And welcome back. We're moving into our final segment for today, and we're talking about Aquatica Submarines and their Blue Hole Expedition 2018. And joining us for this conversation, we have the Vice President of Aquatica Submarines, Bryan, and we also have the co-founder of the Aquatica Foundation, Reid. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Now, let's talk a little bit about Aquatica Submarines. And what's the objective? How did that get birth?
So the submarine company started, our founder, Harvey Fleming, in Calgary, Alberta, of all places, middle of nowhere near the ocean. He spent a lot of time in the Caribbean and saw other companies with small submarines and diving operations, and he got hooked. And so, like every other entrepreneur, he decided that was what he was going to do. About 5 years ago now, and then got a team together and designed and built the submarine that we're using on this expedition. And then he had a great idea with another colleague of his to come in to the Blue Hole and see how we can use the submarines to good effect, not just for looking around, but also to do some science. So we got all of our act together, and with great cooperation from the Audubon Society, the government, and ultimately the people of Belize, we have the opportunity to come here and do that. And we're going to go to the Blue Hole with 2 submarines, ours and a partner company. We're going to dive and explore, and we're also going to do some science. We're going to do a 3D sonar map with another partner company, a sonar company, and build a 3D map of the Blue Hole. And that will be what we give to the people of Belize to use, that data, so it can be used however they wish to really know more about this treasure that we get a chance to explore. That's how we got there.
Are these standard, at least I don't know what the proper term is, just standard military issued submarines, or is it modified? When you're talking submarines, that's the picture I have in my head. What kind of submarines are we looking at?
Absolutely. That's a great question. They can't be farther away from that. They're, how can I put it? They're basically look a large fishbowl. It's a big, where the people sit. There's 3 people in our submarine, with air tanks on the side and some battery compartments and some thrusters, and move through the water and look. We go very slowly, 2 or 3 miles an hour, very maneuverable, electric powered, so we can just go in and just look around.
How long can you go down for?
We stay down for a couple of hours at a time, but we can stay up to 96 hours. We've got enough air for 96 hours. But usually the people get uncomfortable and have to come up for a glass of water or something to eat long before that. But usually we stay out for a couple of hours at a time.
You say the people. Is this something that I can buy tickets for? Is that kind of I can jump on one of these?
You know what?
Go down?
You don't get it if you don't ask, right?
Yeah.
But in this case, we've got everything full up. We've got scientists with ourselves. We've got our crew. We have some special guests coming along. We have some folks that are helping support the expedition. And so, that's who's going to be going. But a lot of our seats, when you look at the expedition, are taken up with scientists and equipment. So we've got spots for 3 people, and in the submarine, one of them is always the pilot. One of our pilots, Erica, Will and Cross, our 3 pilots, and then we've got scientists, and then we've got some of our other sponsors.
We also have another sub, Idabel, that has about over 2,000 sub dives under its belt. And we'll be going down simultaneously. So they'll be carrying a lot of scientific equipment and camera gear, and kind of just getting the Aquatica sub on camera as we go down. So, and documenting the whole adventure. So,
do you have any expectations going down the Blue Hole, or is there anything that you look forward to going down there?
Everything about it.
We wouldn't. I mean, exploration and the mystery of the Blue Hole is exactly that. I mean, everybody always asks, what are you going to find when you go down there?
Yeah.
We don't know. If I knew, I wouldn't go. I mean, stealing a line from Jacques Cousteau, but he's speaking of which, I mean, he was one of the last explorers to go down there back in the 70s. So we're piggybacking off of that and continuing on.
How far down do you imagine you'll go?
Well, the Blue Hole's 417 feet deep, so we'll be coming very close to the bottom.
There's a picture of the sun.
Yeah, there you go. That's the stingray right there.
Yeah,
that's exactly it. So there you go. That's where everybody sits.
That's more commercial and compact than I was
absolutely.
envisioning.
Now, you're talking about getting information.
Yeah.
Very often, you look at something like this, the first thing you think about is more the fun aspect, being one of the firsts, pioneering kind of work. Let's talk about both of your own interests in this, and how did you get into this mission?
Well, for myself, I come from British Columbia, Canada, so very far away from here. But it's interesting. Belize and British Columbia are very similar. Few people living in a few areas, and then large areas of wilderness. For myself, my family has always lived on the coast in very remote areas, so I've had a connection to the ocean. I've been a diver for many years. Pardon me. So I've had that connection. So the opportunity to work with Aquatica was just an extension of my life. I've been on the water all my life. I've been under the water in the Navy back home. I've worked in the maritime business. So this was an easy fit. When the opportunity came up to work with Aquatica, and Harvey said, here's what we're doing, it was easy. So it was just an extension. And living in British Columbia too, we have a very finely attuned sense of nature. We've not done a great job in the past of being a steward of that. We're getting better, and there's a very highly tuned sensitivity to conservation. How do we make sure this wonderful nature that we have will be extending to the future generations? And the opportunity to come to Belize, where I've seen and had experience working with some folks here, that there's that attitude here. How do we take this treasure, learn more about it, and be able to tell the world about it in a way that they get excited, but they also understand we have to protect and conserve it, not just for conservation's sake, but so everybody can enjoy it and understand it, and then the wheel keeps on rolling. So that's my personal journey, and this is dead center of everything I am excited about.
Yeah, I came from the metrology space, so I was a sales engineer for a few companies, over the years, and one of them happened to be in the ocean space out of San Diego, California, and so I really fell in love with the ocean. Back then, that was probably about 2005. But I always grew up around the ocean. I live really close to Laguna Beach, California. I live in Mission Viejo, California, and a few years back got involved with a company called Oceanic Global out of New York, where we basically try to eradicate plastics out of the ocean, banning the straw, plastic straw movement, and regulating overfishing. I met Harvey Fleming, the president of Aquatica, at an event, and he asked me to come work with him. Because at the time, Aquatica Submarines didn't have like a conscious piece to it. So they were kind of catering more towards the luxury tourism market. That was the direction that they were going. And so it was easy to convince Harvey into getting into the conscious piece and bringing on these NGOs. We have 5 major NGOs that we brought that got involved in this expedition that we're helping out through this dive. So that was big for me, that was big for Harvey, and it really opened up a lot of doors. We were able to get Richard Branson to take part in this dive, along with his foundation called Ocean Unite. Karen Sack, the CEO of Ocean Unite, is coming out as well, and it's just been a pleasurable experience working with all these individuals that are really passionate about making some conscious changes in the ocean.
Now, when I want to go from a global perspective, like what Bryan said. We look at things like our Barrier Reef, for example, and it's a World Heritage Site. But how do you put that in context for Belizean people to understand the impact of what that means in terms of the importance globally?
Wow, that's a big question. I think I'll let Jared talk about this because he's better at it than me. But one thing we're doing, I can say, is we're bringing some students out from University of Belize. So to Grassroots Way, there's a big picture one, and then there's a grassroots small picture one. So that's one of the ways we're doing it here, is we're connecting it with students from the university. And in that they get to come out and they get to actually see what we're doing. And the plan is for them to have a chance to dive. So to your question, how do you get in? That's one of the ways. So now we've got a
I have to
couple.
go back to you.
Yeah, there you go. There's a chance.
I'm running over there.
So that's one way to answer your question. It's a grassroots. So we've got to get a couple of Belizean students out there seeing what's going on. So it has that. We have that connection as an organization and as a group of organizations. That's the first way that I would see as a grassroots level, and that's what we're doing on this expedition. So
the biggest thing is awareness. When you bring awareness to individuals to something they've never seen before, right? So people fall in love with things that they're passionate about, right? So we have this unique opportunity to go down and capture a tremendous amount of content and scientific data to give to the world. So we have to be conscious stewards of the message that we're delivering, and that's why this this conscious piece is so important, because we want people to see what it is that we're damaging, how can we fix it, and the only way to do that is through content, right? So that's what we're big on.
We love the world, but me in particular, I love Belize more.
Yeah.
You're talking about the conscious aspect of it, and you're contrasting that with the luxury tourism, as you dubbed it. You're going to leave a mapping of the blue hole.
Yep.
What else can we in Belize take after? Because you guys are not going to stay in Belize. This is not something that's going to be permanently in Belize.
Well, we would like to actually have multiple subs in certain jurisdictions. That's our ultimate goal with Aquatica Submarines.
And Belize is one of those jurisdictions that you.
We would love to have. Absolutely. We hopefully you're going to be talking to the Prime Minister at the end of the week. And the Ministry of Tourism is actually staying at our hotel.
Beltrade was just here, man. You missed the guys if you run down.
Oh yeah, was he here? Okay, yeah. So we would love. I mean, first awesome. Awareness, right? So we bring awareness to Belize and say, hey, look at this beautiful, UNESCO heritage site that you guys have, and we're not just going to be here, collect a bunch of content, and then leave. We're giving you data. We'd like to, come back and establish, a couple subs. In the area, and if there's some operators that are willing to operate that, we'll train them and take them through the whole process, and start what I like to call public subsea exploration is our ultimate goal. And so getting not just scientists, but just regular, person, off the street into a sub.
Like me.
Yeah. There you go. First in line. First in line. You can be first. Yeah. So we'd love to bring that to the people of Belize.
What is the experience like? I've never dived, and one of the reasons it's attractive to me in a serious way is because I always think of diving as being almost claustrophobic, and you have to. There's so many things you have to be trained for it for so long, and you feel vulnerable. Yeah. To all these, what I hear is underneath there. Yeah. It's not what we eat for dinner.
Yeah, that's right.
It's what eats you for dinner.
Yeah. That's when you become food.
That's when you become food. That's when you see where you are in the food chain.
The acrylic sphere is 1 atmosphere.
The what?
It's
I'm just.
It's a great question. No, it's a good question. So the glass, or it's not glass. It's made out of acrylic, right? So that the sphere.
It's about that thick.
Yeah, it's about
2 inches.
2 inches thick, and it's something that. I wasn't claustrophobic when I went down. I mean, I was so enthralled with my surroundings that I was so excited I forgot about it. But usually people that are a little put off by getting into a confined space, after about a couple minutes being in the sub, looking around and stuff, it just dissolves. It goes away. So we never had to surface really fast to get somebody out. They've relaxed, and there's 1 atmosphere. You can go like this.
That's
shorts, t-shirt.
That's how we dress.
So it's really easy.
Does it require special training? Because I think that's one of the things that people would want. No.
You have to be able to listen. And if you can do that, you're good to go.
Don't touch that button.
Yeah, that's right. In all seriousness, we follow a lot of rigorous procedures. And part of that is make sure we do a brief to everybody who's going. And it's very simple. Here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to do it. And we do some safety procedures. Just to say, here's what you do when something happens. It takes about 5 minutes. It's no more complex than when you get in an airplane. It's that level of training, if you will. And then it's really just a case of getting in and being excited about it. We've had some folks very nervous, and I get 1,000 questions. What if this? What if that? What if that? And typically, a lot of times, they're highly professional people, lawyers or engineers, asking 1,000 questions, and we
Those are the types, yeah.
ask the questions, and they go, okay. They finally get in the sub, and they're nervous. And I see them when they come up, I go, how was it? And everyone, that was awesome. So what happens is you see them at the surface, and then you see them dive. And then you see them come up, and the smiles from ear to ear. So answer your question, and it's 7 feet across. It's like being in your car, is what it's like. And it's awesome.
I wanted to ask, this is the first time you're going to dive it?
In Belize, yeah.
In Belize. But I wanted to reference another experience that you had. What was the most awe-inspiring experience that you've had doing dives?
Oh, wow. I think
Glass sponges?
the glass sponges, close to where we're located in Vancouver, they're called glass sponges, and they literally are that. They're sponges that are made of what amounts to glass. Very rare. You can look them up on the internet, but everybody knew where they were, but they weren't able to explore them because they were hard to get to. They were too deep, too much current, whatever the case may be. So going down and seeing these things that are, in some cases hundreds of years old, and they're just right there. And I know nobody else has seen them. It's it's a little bit, seems a bit mundane, but when you sit there and think, I've just seen something that's a mile away from 2.5 million people, and I'm one of 10 people that's seen this.
Wow.
Yeah, they're the oldest living organism on the planet. They're about 9,000 years old. They're silica based. So these things are, cathedral-like. Big. Some of them get up to about 9 feet tall. They're gigantic. And they have this oculus on them, and they have the ability to grow a thin glass sheath across their oculus in about a 24-hour time period, so they can sneeze. So when soot gets inside of their oculus, they can sneeze it out. There's amazing, things. And this is all this is founded by the Aquatica team, right?
Sure.
And so what they're trying to actually do is in Vancouver, they're trying to educate the shrimpers that are in the area that drop these traps, and they crush these things. So they're plotting them so they know not to drop their traps, in these areas. So
and there's every possibility that we might find something equally amazing or really amazing in our
Yes,
world.
There's so
Absolutely.
many.
Just don't make up anything.
Yeah.
We've heard stories from like spaceships to bodies to all kinds of
In our blue hole.
In your blue hole, yeah.
Wow.
So we don't know. I
hope there's no spaceship down there. No more visitors right now.
Yeah, what did I hear yesterday? I heard there's a portal. It's
That's
a
right,
portal.
that's right.
It's a portal to another dimension. So he may not come back. We don't know.
Well, I think a part of that has to do with the Maya and their belief of caverns.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also this thing where they said there's a connection between the one on the Southern Highway and that one.
Oh, yeah.
So is that possible?
We'll let you know.
So what do we do to get it?
We might fall through and straight.
Well, I'll put a plug in for it. We are actually being broadcast on Discovery Channel on December the 2nd from 3 to 5 Belize time.
Okay.
So that's one way, and it will be live. So you'll see us. If we make mistakes, you'll see mistakes. If we don't make mistakes, we won't make mistakes. It'll be great.
Yeah.
So how do you light that far down?
We've got lights in the submarine, and there's a certain, depends on where the sun is and the water clarity and everything, but I've been down a couple hundred feet, and there's still enough ambient light. But there are lights in the submarine, and we've got some remotely operated vehicles, kind of like remote controlled cars on a string. They'll be around too to give us some light.
And the other sub has lights on it too. We'll be lighting this up as well. So
This
should
is
be
just
very
fun.
clear.
This is just absolutely fun.
Oh, it's totally awesome.
Yeah,
No
it's
other way to
great.
say it.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can log online.
Aquaticasubmarines.com.
Yep.
You can also go to the aquaticafoundation.com as well. And there will be a link there. So that link will be connected to the Discovery Channel's satellite. So you'll be able to watch it online if you'd like.
Live?
Live, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
2 to 5. December 2nd, right?
3 to 5.
3 to 5.
Yeah.
3 to 5,
December
yeah.
2nd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best way is on Discovery Channel itself because there'll be a bit of a lag on the website. But the best way is watching on TV.
And I think also the Belize Audubon Society too. I think they would be having a link on their site as well.
Yeah.
They were actually instrumental in helping us out, getting us all the permits that we needed and stuff with the Belize Fisheries Department and stuff. So we wanted to say thanks to them for really helping us out.
All right.
Yeah.
Will you be able to determine what makes the blue hole blue?
We have a whole team of scientists doing that. So I'm not smart enough for that.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us this morning, and really exciting work. And you know, give me the sea as opposed to space. I'll take
Absolutely.
the sea.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
All right. We'll have more information, of course, on our Facebook, so you can follow the link. This is really, really fascinating work, and it's happening right here in Belize. But for now, we're going to go ahead and take our final break, and when we come back, we'll have a report from Marlene on the ICJ and from The Hague. And that will be a part of our wrap. Don't go anywhere. Open your eyes and conclude after these.